In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on September 20th, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Stanford versus Syracuse. The Stanford Cardinal embark on their inaugural Atlantic Coast Conference journey to the East Coast this Friday night as they prepare to face off against the Syracuse Orange. This will mark the first ever Atlantic Coast Conference matchup between the two schools. Stanford enters the game with a 1-1 record after a victory over Cal Poly in Week 2, while Syracuse remains undefeated at 2-0 following their win against Georgia Tech in Week 2. The game sets the stage for a historic clash, with both teams eager to prove themselves in this new conference rivalry. Expect the Carrier Dome to be electric on Friday night, as Orange fans are fired up, largely due to the impressive play of quarterback Kyle McCord. The high energy and noise in the Dome are likely to disrupt Stanford's offensive rhythm, especially since this will be their first road game of the season. To combat the intense atmosphere, Stanford will look to rely on their ground game, led by dual-threat quarterback Ashton Daniels. This could prove to be a smart strategy, as Syracuse's defense has struggled against the run, currently ranked 110th in the nation, giving up an average of 183.5 rushing yards per game. However, Syracuse's performance last week against Georgia Tech showed that they can tighten up in the trenches, limiting the Yellow Jackets to just 112 rushing yards, including only 67 yards from their mobile quarterback, Haynes King. While Daniels will likely get some rushing yards, it may not be enough to control the game. Syracuse, conversely, will look to capitalize on their home field advantage and exploit Stanford's weak secondary, which ranks 117th in the country, allowing 278.5 passing yards per game. McCord's strong passing game should flourish in the comfortable and familiar environment of the Carrier Dome, where communication is key, particularly for aerial attacks. Syracuse's efficiency on offense has been a standout this season, allowing them to sustain drives and consistently put points on the board. This balanced attack will make it challenging for Stanford's defense to hold the Orange in check. From a tactical standpoint, this is a difficult matchup for the Cardinal. Syracuse has been lighting up the scoreboard, averaging over 34 points per game, and much of their damage has come through the air, which is where Stanford has shown the most vulnerability. Although Stanford's run defense has been decent so far, their pass defense leaves much to be desired. This plays perfectly into McCord's strengths, as the quarterback has already set career-high passing yard totals in each of the first 2 games of the season, and he is poised to continue that trend in this matchup. Stanford's pass rush has also been a concern, as they rank just 92nd nationally in sacks per game, managing only 1 sack against the significantly weaker Cal Poly team. If McCord is given time to sit in the pocket and find his receivers, it could spell a long and difficult night for the Cardinal defense. Additionally, Syracuse's defense matches up well against a Stanford offense that lacks explosive playmakers in both the running and passing game. Last week, Stanford's special teams were the catalyst in their victory over Cal Poly, rather than their offense, which currently ranks 114th in total offense nationally. They will struggle to keep up in a high-scoring contest against the Orange, as they lack the necessary firepower to prevent Syracuse from piling on points. Syracuse enters this game riding high after an impressive win against Georgia Tech, improving their record to 2-0. Their offense has been particularly dangerous through the air, and that trend is likely to continue against Stanford. Although Stanford was competitive in their opening game against TCU, covering the spread, their defensive lapses ultimately cost them the win. In this game, I anticipate Syracuse will move the ball effectively through the air, with McCord likely to have another standout performance. While Stanford may find some success against a somewhat suspect Syracuse defense, they simply do not possess enough offensive weapons to keep pace. Therefore, the Syracuse Orange to win the game and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. In terms of the total points for this game, Syracuse should do more than enough to push the score close to the projected total. Through 2 games, the Orange are averaging 34.5 points per contest and have shown little difficulty moving the ball through the air. That pattern should continue on Friday night against a Stanford secondary that will be tested throughout the game. Meanwhile, Stanford's offense is unlikely to be able to match the scoring pace, particularly on the road and following a cross-country trip for a Friday night game. While Syracuse's defense may not be elite and probably won't shut Stanford out, they should be able to control a Cardinal offense that has been underwhelming both on the ground and through the air. Taking everything into consideration, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Illinois versus Nebraska. 2 undefeated teams from the Big Ten Conference are set to clash, with one team poised to experience their first loss of the season in the Cornhusker State. The number 24 Illinois Fighting Illini will hit the road to face the number 22 Nebraska Cornhuskers on Friday night. Illinois is coming off an impressive 30-9 victory at home against Central Michigan last Saturday, where they covered the spread as 21-point favorites. Meanwhile, Nebraska secured a dominant 34-3 win at home against Northern Iowa, covering their 30-point spread with ease. Historically, Nebraska has had the upper hand in this matchup, boasting a 14-6-1 all-time record against Illinois, including a 20-7 road victory in their most recent meeting on October 6, 2023. Both teams enter this contest with spotless records, each looking to secure their 4th consecutive win to begin the season. Nebraska will benefit from playing on their home turf, and Memorial Stadium is sure to be packed and electric for this Friday night showdown. Nebraska has shown strength on both sides of the ball, and their defense, in particular, has been impressive. Illinois, on the other hand, has struggled offensively over the past 2 weeks, which could lead to difficulties in moving the ball against Nebraska's stout defense. While both teams have performed well in the season's early stages, Illinois' 3 victories have all come at home. This game will test their ability to succeed on the road. A notable concern for Illinois is their limited receiving options. Only 2 players have more than 3 catches this season. If Nebraska can neutralize their top targets, Bryant and Franklin, Illinois offense may struggle to generate enough production. I expect a strong performance from Nebraska's quarterback, Raiola, so the Nebraska Cornhuskers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Illinois head coach Brett Bielema is known for his tough, physical style of football, often focused on controlling the trenches. His offensive line will face a significant challenge against Nebraska's formidable pass rush, which averages 3.5 sacks per game against Football Bowl subdivision opponents, ranking 13th nationally. While I believe Illinois quarterback Altmaier can do just enough to keep his team competitive, it's unlikely he'll put up huge numbers against Nebraska's disciplined defense. On the defensive side, Illinois has proven they can contain high-caliber quarterbacks. In Week 2, they limited Kansas' Jalon Daniels to just 141 passing yards with a completion rate of 56.2%, forcing him into 3 interceptions. If Illinois defense can repeat that performance, there's a possibility they could disrupt Raiola and make it a tough night for the Cornhuskers offense. Both teams have consistently stayed under the total in their games this season. Illinois has gone under the total in each of their 3 games, scoring 45 points in their victory over Eastern Illinois, falling just 6 points short of the projected total in that contest. In their win against Kansas, Illinois missed the total by 18.5 points, and they came up 11 points shy in their most recent victory against Central Michigan. Nebraska has also stayed under the total in all 3 of their games. They were just 1.5 points shy of the total in their season-opening win over UTEP, missed by 17 points in their victory over Colorado, and were 13.5 points under in their rout of Northern Iowa. The last 2 meetings between these teams have also gone under the current total of 43.5 points, and neither squad appears to have enough offensive firepower to rack up a high score. Given the strong defenses on both sides, under the projected total is our full game total pick. San Jose State versus Washington State. 2 undefeated West Coast teams will clash this Friday night when the San Jose State Spartans, boasting a 3-0 record both overall and against the spread, face off against the Washington State Cougars, who are also sitting at 3-0 overall and against the spread. These teams last met in 2018, when Washington State secured a dominant 31-0 victory. San Jose State enters this matchup following a convincing 31-10 win over Kennesaw State, covering the 16.5-point spread as favorites. On the other side, Washington State is riding high after defeating their in-state rivals, Washington, on the road with a 24-19 victory as 6-point underdogs. For this game, the Cougars are currently favored by 14 points. In addition to their strong start, Washington State received the uplifting news that the Pac-12 will continue, as they've added 4 new teams and are looking to expand even more. This comes on the heels of 2 major wins, first against Texas Tech and then against Washington in back-to-back weeks. However, teams in similar situations have been vulnerable to letdowns this season. Notre Dame, for example, delivered an impressive victory over Texas Agricultural and Mechanical only to lose outright to Northern Illinois the following week. San Jose State may not pull off an outright win, but they are well positioned to cover the 14-point spread. Earlier in the season, the Spartans traveled to Brigham Young University, held them to just 7 points, and won outright by 10. Their quarterback is currently averaging over 300 passing yards per game, and standout wide receiver Nick Nash broke school records with 17 receptions for 225 yards in a single game. With an offense that averages 30 points per game, they have a strong chance to cover. Moreover, Washington State has already played the 2 biggest games on their schedule, while this matchup holds enormous significance for San Jose State. That mental edge, along with quarterback Emmett Brown's desire for revenge, he was benched at Washington State last year, could power the Spartans as underdogs. Washington State is coming off a dramatic victory in the Apple Cup, where they defeated in-state rival Washington in a nail-biter that was decided in the final seconds. Now, they return home for a somewhat tricky matchup against a mid-tier Mountain West opponent before heading on the road to face Boise State. This game is the textbook definition of a trap or sandwich game, and Washington State could still be riding the emotional high of last weekend's win. As a result, San Jose State has a good opportunity to keep the game close and potentially give the Cougars a real scare. San Jose State has quietly outperformed expectations this season, currently sitting at 3-0 both straight up and against the spread. The Spartans have found their offensive rhythm, with quarterback Emmett Brown throwing for nearly 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns in just 3 games. The real breakout star, though, is wide receiver Nick Nash, who is emerging as one of the top players in the group of 5 conferences. Despite flying under the radar, Nash has already accumulated 6 touchdowns this season and is coming off an incredible 17-catch performance in Week 3 against Kennesaw State. On the other side of the field, Washington State has also impressed with its 3-0 start, led by quarterback John Mateer, and timely defensive plays. However, they were outplayed statistically in their win against Washington, and they were fortunate to benefit from several turnovers against Texas Tech. While Washington State's success is commendable, they currently rank 85th in offensive efficiency and 76th in defensive efficiency, making it hard to fully buy into the hype surrounding the Cougars just yet. San Jose State should be able to stay competitive, especially if Washington State shows signs of fatigue. Don't be surprised if the Spartans strike first and apply early pressure. If Nash has another standout game, this contest could become very intriguing in the later stages. While Washington State undoubtedly has more talent on paper and deserves to be sizable favorites at home, the 14-point spread seems a bit excessive. San Jose State has demonstrated a much improved passing game and made strides defensively compared to past seasons. Additionally, Washington State has struggled to cover the spread as a double-digit favorite, going 3-7 against the spread in their last 10 games in such situations. Meanwhile, San Jose State has thrived in similar spots, covering 9 of their last 12 games as a double-digit underdog. This sets the stage for the Spartans to potentially cover again, especially in a possible letdown scenario for the Cougars, who may already be looking ahead to their game against Boise State. The hook on this spread could be crucial. This appears to be a classic letdown situation for Washington State, making the San Jose State Spartans to cover the spread as underdogs our full game side pick. When these teams last met 6 years ago, the Spartans struggled mightily on offense, failing to score a single point against the Cougars. This time around, however, should be a very different story, particularly considering Washington State's defense is currently giving up over 400 yards per game. San Jose State's passing attack is legitimate, and they should be able to put points on the board. Washington State, too, has plenty of offensive weapons, with 3 different receivers already having more than 8 receptions and over 150 yards. Their quarterback, Mateer adds an extra layer of complexity for opposing defenses, as he's shown the ability to create plays out of nothing, either with his arm or his legs. Washington State could very well overlook San Jose State in this game, especially after coming off 2 big wins over Power 5 opponents. They might not approach this game with the right mindset. San Jose State, led by Emmett Brown and his impressive 300-plus passing yards per game, will look to exploit this. Brown has been waiting for this matchup, having been part of Washington State's program last season. With his top receiver, Nick Nash, recently setting school records, the Spartans have a potent passing game that could force the Cougars to get aggressive early. Washington State can be a challenge to contain on the ground, especially when Mateer breaks loose on scrambles, as evidenced by their 37-point showing against Texas Tech. Both offenses are averaging over 30 points per game, suggesting a high-scoring affair is likely. This game has all the ingredients for a shootout. Friday nights are perfect for high-scoring games, and with both offenses firing, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.